going down to Ormoc City, we saw lumps. Akala namin putik siya, but those are bodies, no? So that's where it all started. Medyo naglaylo ako during my early corporate days. Siguro nag-focus muna ako sa career. But during the Ondoy flooding, me and my friends thought of helping out. Kasi we are a group of airsoft players during that time.
So we're live. So hi, George.
Hi, Chris. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Episode 91. Ayan.
So we're going to have a very fruitful discussion this evening. So our topic is emergency preparedness. So this is also not just for the office, but this is also for the general public. Okay, what to do during natural disasters, and also to prepare your households for emergencies. So that's why we have suki na natin. I think, George, I'll give you the floor to introduce our guests.
Hindi na siya stranger sa HR Shouts and Whispers. In fact, I was also one of the co-hosts during the time na nag-guest siya. Idol ko to, no? Kasi daming natututunan, no? And tonight, I was surprised because tonight he's going to share with us something that's really, really exciting, and I guess it's very timely. Lalong-lalo na ngayon, tag-ulan na, no? So, I couldn't stress enough the importance of this topic for tonight. And of course, we're going to be joined by many others, no, who's also part of this movement. Siguro hindi ko na patatagalin to, Chris. I'll introduce si Sir Jhun del Ponso. Good evening, sir.
While enduring the pandemic, why don't you upskill in the comforts of your own home? Improve and add more certificates in your resume. Simple, direct, easy. Visit the playlist in our YouTube channel. Browse through our videos and choose the video that interests you. Send in your requests for a particular video and we will send back the certificate via email. Watch this full video for the details.
So hi, sir.
Hi guys, good evening Chris, good evening George, partner. Thank you for having me here again. And really glad I'm here and really excited, no, to share. Kasi tama ka, partner George. As in, preparation kasi is something that we Filipinos are not not very fond of. Very few Filipinos are into preparation. May mga preppers tayo, but not everyone, sadly. So, it's a good timing na pag-uusapan natin ito today.
Okay, so Sir Jhun, so incidentally, see, Sir Jhun is actually one of the HR leaders that are popular in the HR communities, and he is also the Certified Learning and Development Professional Global Training Partner. Yon. So anyway, Sir Jhun, later on, we will talk about mga learning and development kasi training will be part of emergency preparedness. So, but to start the ball rolling, we'll also have to say hi to your katropa here. Ang dami nila. Okay, so we will go on gallery view. So everyone's here. Okay, hi guys. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah. So we're actually...
Maganda, turn on your camera para lang.
Oo. So yan. So they are the members. They're a volunteer group, and these are the members of SOAR. So, Sir Jhun, what again is SOAR? What does it stand for?
Yeah, SOAR is Special Operations Assistance and Rescue Philippines.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we've met you because actually we saw all your activities lalo na last year during yung sa Taal, yung nag-erupt yung 'di ba madaming mga ashes na nag-erupt from Taal volcano, and we saw your activities through Sir June's Facebook postings. Yeah, so we extend our gratitude to your volunteer work, okay, during this time of emergency. Okay, so anyway, Sir June, sa HR kayo, pero paano kayo, we're just very curious, okay, also for the guests,
Sure.
paano kayo napadpad sa emergency as a volunteer for emergencies?
Good question. Thank you, Chris. Actually, I started my volunteer work as early as college days. Kaya lang, syempre, during my early days doon, I remember my first volunteer work was during the Ormoc tragedy, if you still remember that. I was an officer's ROTC, and the armed forces requested for assistance. They asked for volunteers, so I went. And that was a very surreal experience for me kasi parang from above, nakasakay kami sa chopper going down to Ormoc City. We saw lumps. Akala namin putik siya, but those are bodies, no? So that's where it all started. Medyo naglaylo ako during my early corporate days. Siguro nag-focus muna ako sa career. But during the Ondoy flooding, me and my friends thought of helping out kasi we are a group of airsoft players during that time. And sabi namin, let's help out. So we did. We went to the command center. We started distributing foods and all that. Then we said to ourselves, we can do more than this. That's where we were born, basically. So that's where I started again. Doing all of this community outreach, and a lot of my friends here in our call today are really part of that history. You know, from Ondoy to Pedrinquiel to typhoons and earthquakes in up north to Yolanda to Marawi to the most recent, which is the Rolly and Ulysses in Bicol and in Cagayan. We've always been present. Either we are there before the storm hits or following day after the storm hits. Yun ang aming mantra, basically. So that's how I started. Doing HR work is very similar to actually doing volunteer work. Kasi in HR, alam mo naman, malapit sa puso ng tao ang HR. So same as volunteering, you're actually touching the hearts and minds of the people that you are helping out. So it's not really far from HR. And HR people, tayo ang palaging takbuhan ng mga employees natin kapag may mga problema, may disaster, may sakuna. Actually, even issues sa HMO, sa atin tatakbo yan. Pagka yung mga anak nila are having problems and all that, sa atin tatakbo yan. These are just the things we do in HR. The more critical things we do in HR, particularly this pandemic, tayo yung pandemic SAR sa company natin, no? Tayo yung nag-prepare ng protocols, tayo ang nag-enforce ng health protocols so that, our employees are protected, tayo ang nag-look after their welfare, yung kanilang family, tayo ang nag-prepare ng work from home settings nila para sila ay makapagtrabaho despite pandemic. So HR people are actually rescuers themselves, if I may say so. So hindi lang tayo pencil pushers. People come to us because they need help. I guess that's the more critical one. They need our help in HR. The same way yung mga nasalanta ng typhoon or earthquakes, they need our help. So that's how I got into this, basically.
So, ito, Sir June, okay. So, last year, so lahat tayo, parang surprise, okay. So, we actually saw ashes from the sky, okay. So, but do you recall any peculiar or unique experience as a rescuer?
Well, the eruption of Taal naman was not really a new thing for us. Kasi if you remember, we have been preparing for the Mayon, di ba? I mean, there was a time when that was 2019 or 2018 when the Mayon was really acting up. And talagang there were evacuations already. So the team has been preparing for that. Good thing, nagsettle down si Mayon. itong si Taal was really came as a surprise. Although we were monitoring it, pero we never thought it will go that way. So from a preparation standpoint, yung team namin has been preparing for it. Actually, we have gas masks prepared. We have all of the medical stuff prepared. We have evacuation plans prepared and all that. So ready tayo. Um, I guess the only difference is masyadong close to home ito. As in, napakalapit sa Metro Manila and we all felt it. We saw the ashes, we smelled the sulfur coming from the volcano. And then when we got there, well actually not even after, during the eruption, when we got there, talaga namang nothing prepares you for the real thing. Para siyang zombie land, basically. The whole place has been transformed totally. With the ashes, with the trees na ika nga na blown off and all that. The roads were cracked. There was even a time when we almost collided with a road, no, dito going down to one of the towns near the lake. Kasi umangat talaga yung road by several inches. So from a preparation standpoint, we were ready. From the actual standpoint, nothing will prepare you for the real thing.
Yun.
So, yun.
Yeah.
George,
Sorry,
you were
Chris.
saying, Sandy? You were
Oh,
saying
sobra ako na amaze kasi sabi ko nga volunteer work especially in times of crisis and nothing can prepare you, di ba? Sobrang hindi yan hindi yan biro-biro. So I'm really curious, Sir Jhun, and maybe you can also ask some of our guests dito, no? How does it happen? You know, paano ang process when for example, let's say lang, assuming knock on wood, next week we experience a typhoon or a habagat, no? And alam mo naman natin dito, there are two types of rainfall. Yung typhoon na hangin, which is wind and all that, and the other side of things is the habagat, which is monsoon rains. And di ba nga, because it's La Nina, what if for example next week all of a sudden bigla lang bumuhos ang malakas na ulan? How does it happen with you guys? How do you respond? How does the coordination happen? Maganda siguro marinig natin kasi exciting eh. Sarap yan eh.
Oo. Sige, let me share the preparation that we go through. Medyo madugo ito kasi madugo ito ng konti, no? Medyo madugo ng konti. So normally, even before the typhoon or the habagat hits, minomonitor na natin yan days before. So meron kaming tatlong warning signal sa team, no? Normally yellow, blue, and red. So pag nag-yellow alert na kami, when we say yellow alert sa team, that means they start preparing their stuff. Hindi pa naman deployment, but they start preparing their stuff. Nagwa-waterproofing na ng mga backpack yan, nagwa-waterproofing na ng mga medicine kits yan, and the gear that we need to prepare, inaayos na yan. Yung bangka natin, ino-oil na yan, pine-prepare na yan, and all that, no? Even yung ating mga coordination with the different government units, pine-prepare na yan during the yellow alert. So ayan. Ayan. So pag nag blue alert na tayo, partner. Pag nag blue alert na, ibig sabihin, huwag ka nang aalis ng bahay mo, standby ka na. Ibig sabihin, get your gear ready, have your stuff ready, dadaanan ka na lang ng M35, pipick upin ka, or magpo-proceed ka kung saan man ang assembly area. Yan. Pag nag-red, jump off na yan. Ibig sabihin, dadaanan ka ng trucks, dadaanan ka ng ibang team members, and then proceed na tayo sa jump off area. Pagdating sa jump off area, briefing na tayo with the different government units. Very often, ang ating kausap dito ay OCD and the RRMC kasi sila yung key player pagdating sa mga disasters and calamities. And also DSWD eventually kasi sila eventually will take over from OCD and the RRMC to support yung mga affected community. So kami, pag nag-red alert yan, partner, let's say for example, ang assembly area ay sa Camp Aguinaldo. Pag nag-red alert kami, nasa Camp Aguinaldo na kami, just waiting for instructions. Normally sa auditorium yan or sa stage, inaayos lang namin yung mga equipment namin, sineset up lang namin, and then nag-iintay kami ng deployment location. An example, yung nangyari sa amin sa Lando, If I don't know if you remember that, 2 years or 3 years ago, nung binaha ang Pampanga, Bulacan at Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija. Nahirapan ang Cabanatuan kasi medyo devastated, bumaha talaga, nalumubog yung city, mataas talaga ang tubig. So ang ginawa, tumawag na sa region and sa provincial, eventually nag-connect na sa national. So si national and the RMC, binato kami doon sa Cabanatuan, nag-deploy kami sa Cabanatuan. Medyo scary yun kasi if you can imagine, yung mga bridges sa probinsya natin, di ba, ang tataas niyan. Pagdating namin sa mga bridges, 1 meter na lang ang natitirang space, bahana ang mga bridges. Medyo scary siya, but we have to get there. Eventually, dineploy namin yung team kasi yung trucks can no longer cross the bridge. So, ang ginawa namin, the team deployed, binitbit nila yung rubber boat namin. And then pagdating nila sa isang lugar na they can use the boat, magbo-boat sila. Pag mababaw, they walk. And then later on, magbo-boat ulit. Eventually, nakarating sa capital ng Cabanatuan. That's how we deploy, partner. So, weeks before or days before, minomonitor na yan. And after that, pagka-monitor namin, mag-a-alert na yan. Yellow, blue, and then red.
Okay, so yes, so it looks like a complicated operation, Sir Jhun. Okay, so itong mga kasama natin dito, we'd like to meet them. Baka mag-introduce naman sila at ano yung particular role nila sa rescue operation.
Siguro maganda, let's introduce each and everyone.
Oo.
Ma'am, sir, para lang marinig rin kayo at we can also get to know each other.
Kasi curious ako dito kasi it's actually well represented, both male and female are volunteers. So baka mag-voluntold pa kami dito. Mag-alphabetical ba tayo? Anyway, sino bang pinakauna dito kanina? I think yung nag-hi dito, Sir DJ Haro. Okay, so how are you? And what do you do during rescue operations? Hello? Sir Jhun, parang shy sila.
Sige, let me be the one to call. Sino ba? Ayan, si Sir Alan. Si Alan ay ensign. Si Ensign Alan is one of the more senior responders natin. Marami nang pinagdaanan nito. Sir Alan, introduce yourself naman to the guys.
Hello, good evening. Ako po si Alan De La Torre, one of the trained officers ni Sir Jhun, way back 2014, I guess. We've been saving lives for as far as I know. And tinrain po ako ni Sir Jhun from water rescue to medical, to high angle, and hopefully within the year, be tactical na. And that's all I could say.
Alright. Thank you, Alan. Ang ating in-house RN at EMT, si Ma'am Jelay naman.
Hello
Nakamute ka po.
Okay na po. Yeah. Hello po, Jelay po. Medyo bago po ako sa team. Magto 2 years pa lang ako. But pag sa deployment po, ang role ko dyan, because babae po, is ako yung nasa medical. Ako po yung naiiwan sa area kung saan mas safe. Sila po yung lumulusong sa tubig. Pero iniintay ko po yung mga patients na dadating. Ako naman po yung nagtitreat sa kanila. And then for documentation, mga pictures, mga documentation ng patient, as well as yung admin staff. Yun naman po ang role ko. Tinrain naman po ako ni Sir Jhun sa water, WASAR po, water search and rescue, and ayan, lahat po sa medical. Natutunan po namin sa kanya.
Ayan. Si Chief Sumera naman. Si Chief Sumera, ang isa sa ating mga instructors pagdating siya ang ating chief instructor doon sa tinatawag natin na urban search and rescue or collapse structure search and rescue. nagkaroon ng lindol at may nalubog or natabunan, yan yung training na yan. Si Chief Sumera, ang chief instructor natin dyan. Chief Sumera, introduce yourself naman. Naka-mute ka, Chief. Chief, naka-mute ka. Ayan, medyo shy si Chief Sumera. Alright, thank you, Chief Sumera. Chief Sumera ay nasa ating Naval Reserve, kaya Chief Sumera. Isa pa nating volunteer ay si Technical Sergeant Rodolfo Fernando o yung Kuya Fer ang tawag namin. Kuya Fer, pakilala ka naman.
Hello po, magandang gabi po sa inyo. At ito po si Rod Fernando po, dating military. Trained po ako ni Sir Jhun sa EMAR. At pares po kami may training ng CBRN sa disposal po ng... tapos kami po ay matagal na rin po nagkasama na Sir Jhun sa volunteer tsaka sa every disaster response.
Yes, sir.
Kahit saan po nagsama po kami, medical response sa baha po, tsaka kung kahit ano pong disaster response na ma-assign po kami, palagi po kami magkasama ni Sir. Since kung di po nagkamali, 2013. Up to now po, magkasama po kami. Yun po, gusto namin mag-grow kami, magkakasama-sama. At non-stop po yung training namin po, every evolution at gusto po namin makuha po lahat yun. At hindi po po. Salamat.
Ayan. Ayan, mahihayin si Kuya Per. Ang ating isa sa mga instructors ay si Lieutenant Jenly Barameda. Ayan. Isa sa mga masungit na instructors. Pero magaling. Kuya Jenly, quick word naman, pakilala ka.
Good evening po, sir, ma'am. Ako nga pala si Jenly Barameda. Na-train po ako ni Sir Jhun since 2016 until now. Andito pa po ako sa search and rescue. Yung mga nakuha kong training ay una, WASAR, then swift, and then tactical medicine, and at the same time, emergency medical technician po ako. Good evening po.
Yeah.
Good evening po.
Thank you. Ayan, Ma'am Chris, mukhang na-cover ko na yata lahat.
Okay.
Ay, si Chief Sumera. Lastly, Chief Sumera, pakilala ka naman, Chief.
Pasensya na kasi naka-mute kanina. So ako po si SN1 Bonifacio Sumera, part po ako ng Philippine Navy Reserve. Na-train po kami sa Navy ng iba-ibang klase ng rescue. Pero mas lalo po akong nahasa noong nakasama ko si Sir Ponso sa 101st nung nasa 101st kami habang nagte-train po kami ng marami sa Cavite. And then first time pong nakasama ko si Sir ay doon sa Nazarin, yung piyesta ng Quiapo. So sumunod po dyan ay nagkasama kami dito sa Taal. And then after nyan ay tuloy-tuloy na po hanggang ngayon. Sa ngayon po ang mas nailalaan ko pong pag-aralan at ituro ay yung collapse structure, search and rescue. Kasi doon po kami nahasa ng gusto. At nagpapasalamat ako kay Commander Del Ponso kasi nandun yung tiwala po niya sa amin. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat din po, sir. So, Sir Jhun, have we covered
Chris,
everyone?
last two.
Last
two, i-mention ko na lang, si Kuya Jed Dasal, nandito rin sa atin. At si Kuya Jers ay nandito rin sa atin. Mga first responder din natin yan, Ma'am Chris. Yeah.
So, meron pala kayong sistema, Sir Jhun. Okay, so once you're called on to the emergency site, So that seems to be, parang meron kayong mga arrangements. Okay, so ang tanong dito, Sir Jhun, what about household emergencies? Ano kaya ang
Ayan.
ma-advise ninyo? Kasi since ano naman, our viewers will be, of course, some of them, they're in typhoon-prone areas.
Mm. Ayan, good question, Ma'am Chris. Let me start by saying na preparedness kasi is a mindset. No? Na-mention ko kanina, not all Filipinos are into the preparedness mindset. I understand kasi hindi rin naman kasi madaling mag-prepare. Ika nga, lalo na if you don't know what to do or what to prepare. Yan. So, it begins with the mindset. Sabi nga, chance favors the prepared mind. Let me rephrase that. Ika nga, survival comes with the prepared mind. Ika nga. Yan. So, when we talk about household preparation, no, when we talk about possible earthquake, yung big one na tinatawag natin, when we talk about typhoons, which happens more than 24 or 26 times a year, no, we have to consider a lot of things. Number one, meron kaming tinatawag na 3-step family disaster preparedness process. Number one, 3-step lang yan, napakasimple. So madali siyang tandaan. Number one, stay informed. Number two, make a plan and assemble an emergency kit. Number three, stay informed. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng stay informed? Number one, alamin mo kung ano yung mga hazard sa paligid mo or sa bahay mo. Halimbawa, kung ikaw ay nakatira sa isang bahay na gawa sa light materials, ano bang mga hazards dyan kapag nagkaroon ng lindol? So, syempre, pwedeng bumagsak. Pwede kang mabagsakan ng mga bagay-bagay, no? May mga cabinet ka dyan, meron kang ilaw dyan na pwedeng bumagsak sa'yo, may pader na pwedeng bumagsak sa'yo. Pag-aralan mo yan. Ano pa? Halimbawa naman, baha. Ikaw ay nakatira sa isang lugar na bahain. Pag-aralan mo rin, saan ba normally tumatakbo ang baha? Alam na yan po ng mga LGUs. Kapag bumaha, merong normal path na tinatakbuhan ng tubig dahil dun sa natural inclination ng ating mga kalsada. Pag-aralan mo yan. Pag-aralan mo rin yung bahay mo. Yung bahay mo ba ay masyadong mababa at kapag bumaha ay aakyatin ang bahay mo ng tubig. Kung mangyari yan, anong gagawin mo? So pag-aralan mo yung risk, no? Ang bahay mo ba ay prone sa sunog? Ano yung mga hazard sa paligid mo? Magsimula ka dyan. Tingnan mo ano yung mga hazard. Simple, yung electrical connection ba ng bahay mo? Yung mga plug ba ng bahay mo ay maayos ba? May octopus connection ka ba dyan na maaring magdulot ng sunog? So, hanapin mo muna yon. Pag-aralan mo yung mga hazard sa paligid mo. Pag nalaman mo na yung hazards na yan, then pag-isipan mo ngayon, ano ang gagawin mo? So, number one, stay informed, know your hazards. Pag-aralan mo yan. Number two, know yung mga emergency information na dapat meron ka. Halimbawa, sino ba sa atin ang nagtatabi ng contact number ng ating barangay hall? Normally, kapag bumaha, namamatay ang cellphone. Pwede pa yung landline sometimes. So, napaka-importante na meron tayong emergency numbers. Police, bumbero, barangay hall, emergency mga medicals, no? Yung sa ospital. Dapat may number tayo niyan na ready. Nasa cellphone natin yan, nakadikit sa telepono sa bahay. So any given time, alam ng mga kababayan natin o mga kapitbahay natin o kasama natin sa bahay yung tatawagan. So number one, know the risk, know the hazards. Number two, stay informed. Alam mo dapat yung mga contact information. Number three, huwag ka nang maghintay na may baha, may lindol o may bagyo na. Dapat meron ka palaging paghahanda. Ano ba yung mga ihahanda mo? So number three, meron ka dapat na means para ma-inform ka. Ano ba yung mga means para ma-inform? Cellphone is good, pero ang cellphone nawawalan ng signal, nawawalan ng baterya. Napakahalaga na meron kang isang simpleng transistor radio. Yung classic radio na ginagamit natin, lalagyan mo lang yan ng baterya, mag-tune in ka sa mga radio stations na nagbibigay ng updates para alam mo kung ano ang nangyayari sa paligid mo. Malay mo, nag-release na pala ng tubig ang dam. At nasa pathway ka pala ng dam. So hindi mo alam na nag-release na. Therefore, at risk ka na. So kailangan mo mag-evacuate. So meron kang transistor radio. Good yan. Importante yan. Mura lang yan. Magkano lang yan sa palengke. Lalagyan mo lang siya ng baterya. May information ka na. Stay informed. Number 5, kung meron kang information sa mga kamag-anak mo sa labas, kausapin mo na sila. Bakit? Pag nagkaroon po ng disaster, hindi naman tayo palaging nasa bahay. Sample, nagkaroon ng big one, wag naman po sana. Tayo ay nasa trabaho, yung mga anak natin ay nasa school, although ngayon nasa bahay because of the COVID. But what if yung ating mga kapamilya ay nakakalat kung saan-saan man? Ang number 1 priority natin, ang yung tinatawag natin na reconnection. Paano natin silang makakausap? Paano tayo makakapag-connect sa kanila ulit? Yan. Napaka-importante niyan. Kasama yan doon sa tinatawag natin na be in the know. Bakit kasama yan? Let me just show you something. Kukunin ko lang. Okay. Ito po yung tinatawag namin na emergency cards. Ito ay isang halimbawa ng emergency cards. Ano ba yung emergency card? Ang emergency card or emergency contact card ay simpleng card lamang na nakalagay ang pangalan, address, contact information ng may-ari ng card, yung mga kamag-anak niya, kung sino ang kukontakin, kung kinakailangan, para makapag-reconnect kayo. So, emergency contact card. Ma'am Chris, isi-send ko sa iyo soft copy. Pamigay mo na lang po sa mga participants natin. Emergency contact card. Doon sa emergency contact card, ilalagay ninyo yung picture nyo para makilala kayo. Picture ng kamag-anak mo o kung sino man yung asawa anak mo, yung contact nila, contact information nila. Contact information din ng barangay captain mo, para makontak nila, among others. So, nandun siya. Ibibigay ko sa inyo yan para magamit nyon. So, yon, reconnection. First priority natin, paano tayo magre-reconnect sa mahal natin sa buhay. So, that's 1, emergency contact card. Number 2, kailangan pong meron tayong outside of NCR or outside of your area na contact person. Bakit? Kasi po, halimbawa, nagkaroon ng big one sa NCR, at namatay ang contacts or telepono, yung ating cellphone, namatay siya, posibleng hindi na makakonect sa atin yung mga kamag-anak natin. So mag-pinpoint po kayo ng 1 o 2 na emergency contact person sa labas ng area mo. So halimbawa, NCR, meron ako isang kamag-anak o kaibigan, let's say sa ibang area. In my case, ang emergency contact ko ay yung kaibigan kong matalik, si Dean Vallarta, sa Gapan, Nueva Ecija. So lahat ng pamilya ko may number ni Dean. Kung halimbawang hindi ako ma-reach, tatawag sila kay Dean. Kung halimbawang hindi ko sila ma-reach, tatawag ako kay Dean. Dean, tumawag na ba sa iyo si ganito? Nakausap ka na ba ni ganito? Hindi ko makontak. So si Dean ngayon, alert na siya, naghihintay na siya ng information. Kung halimbawang walang kumukontak galing sa amin, si Dean ngayon ang kukontak sa labas. May nangyari sa ganitong lugar, anong status nila ganito, pwede bang malaman? So, meron kang external contact person who will assist you, number 2. Number 3, gumawa ka ng tinatawag natin na disaster preparedness plan. Ano ba yung disaster preparedness plan? Simulan natin sa ilan ba ang fire exit mo? So, dapat meron kang plan. Bakit? Kasi meron tayo mga bata, may matatanda tayo. Although gustuhin man natin na makatakbo sila agad, paano kung may kapansanan sila? So dapat alam nila yung layout ng bahay, alam nila kung saan magtatago, alam nila kung saan tatakbo. Kung halimbawa baha, alam din nila kung saan aakyat. So dapat meron kayong house plan. Doon sa house plan mo, kasama na doon yung reinforcement. Paano ba papatibayin yung bahay? Number 2, kailangan meron kang evacuation plan. Isa po sa mga requirements sa ating mga LGUs ay magkaroon ng evacuation areas kung saan man kayo nakatira. Meron dapat na requirement, hiningian sila ng evacuation route signages. So lahat po dapat ng LGU nag-set up ng mga evacuation areas, may mga signages kung saan ang evacuation area na yan. So napaka-importanting alam nyo kung saan yan at saan kayo dadaan. Kasi po, pinag-aaralan ng LGU yan, ng barangay. Kung dito ang evacuation area natin, ito yung mga rutang pwedeng daanan na madali at mas ligtas. Pinag-aaralan nila yan. Requirement po sa barangay yan. Kung wala si barangay, hingin nyo. Dahil ni-require yan dati. Hingin nyo kung wala sila. Yan, pagalitan nyo yung inyong barangay captain. So yun, dapat meron kayo evacuation plan. Yan. So, ano pa ba? Doon sa ating mga trabaho, kung nasan man tayo, dapat meron din tayong evacuation plan. Paano tayo lalabas ng building? Ilan ba ang fire exit? Nasan ba yan? Paano tayo makakarating sa bahay natin mula sa office natin kung walang sasakyan? Halimbawa, nagkaroon ng earthquake, nasira ang mga tulay. Ano ang mga alternate routes? Ito po ay isa pang halimbawa ng evacuation map. Gumagawa kami nito para sa pamilya, para alam nila, ito yung bahay natin, dito ka pwedeng dumaan. So niruruta na namin, nakamap na siya. So kung halimbawa, yung anak ko na nasa eskwelahan, na nagko-commute, halimbawa, at hindi siya makauwi dahil nagkaroon ng earthquake, halimbawa lang, alam niya kung saan siya pwedeng dumaan. Naglalagay ako ng alternate routes. Kung halimbawa hindi niya madadaanan yon, dito ka sa kabila. Kung hindi kaya dito, sa kabila ka naman. So siya ngayon, confident siya. Ang ginagawa namin, dinadaanan namin yung mga ruta na yan kapag pumupunta kami sa groceries, o ayan anak, yan yung daan, dito tayo dadaan pag nagkaroon ng disaster. So, yung yung pang 5 po natin is really about planning, putting it all together. Okay? So, isa pa is yung step number 2 natin. Step number 1 is stay informed. Step number 2 is making a plan. Tumalon na ako. Doon sa mga bata, ang mga schools po ay ni-require ng ating Department of Education na magkaroon ng disaster emergency plans. Kung wala ang school nyo, hingin nyo, ni-require yan. Dapat meron sila. Kasi po, may mga bata, let's say yung mga bata natin, mga prep natin, elementary natin, pag nagkaroon ng disaster, ano gawin nila? So, dapat malinaw na may plan yan. Okay, so, punta tayo ngayon sa personal plan. Ano ba yung mga hinahanda natin kapag nagkaroon tayo ng disaster? Unang-una, narinig na natin ang dalawang konsepto. Number 1, are you going to go or are you going to stay? When we say, are you going to go, mag-i-evacuate ka ba? When we say, are you going to stay, mag-hunker down ka ba? Anong ibig sabihin nun? Yung, after ma-assess mo yung hazard sa area mo, magdi-decide ka ngayon based on your assessment, hindi naman pala ako kailangan mag-evacuate. Hindi naman pala flood-prone yung area ko, pero yung paligid ko, yung palengke, posibleng bahain. So, hunker down ako. Mag-iipon ako ng mga supplies na kailangan ko dahil hindi ako aalis ng bahay. Pag mag-go, ibig sabihin, mag-i-evacuate. So, ibig sabihin, maghahanda ka ng mga gamit na kailangan mong dalhin para mag-evacuate ka. Now, narinig na natin yung go bag. Napakaseryoso po ng go bag at napaka-importante ng go bag. Kahit anong bag yan, basta backpack, go bag na yan. No? Huwag nyo nang isipin yung social na magandang go bag. No? Huwag na, basta backpack, pwede na yan. Ano ba ang importanteng laman ng go bag? Halimbawa, mag-i-evacuate kayo. Kailangan nyo po ng bare necessities. Water, food, kung pwedeng may shelter, mas maganda. Kung may tent kayo, mas maganda. Pero kung wala, water, food, napaka-critical niyan. No? Water, food. Pangatlo po, yung mga kakailanganin mo, flashlight with batteries, kailangan mo ng spare batteries kung pwede. Kung meron ka, kailangan mo ng energy bars or power bars kasi po, lalo na kung prolong ang emergency, like yung nangyayari sa Yolanda, ang tagal ng disaster time, so medyo yung support, medyo natagalan din dumating kasi masyadong malaki yung damage. So, kailangan mo mag-survive. Ang sabi nga namin, prepare for 120 hours. 20 hours ang i-prepare mo. Kasi sa Pilipinas, sadly, in so much as yung ating government is doing what they can, pero wag napakalaki ng disaster, wag mong i-expect na makarating agad sa'yo yung mga responders. Medyo malabo-labo yan. Kasi pag malawak, like yung sa Yolanda, napakahirap makarating ng support kasi by air lang siya. So nakarating yung support natin sa Yolanda, on the second or third day na. Kami, nandun na kami the night before maglandfall yung Yolanda. Nasa Cebu na kami. So the following day, nakalipad kami agad. But when you are preparing for your homes, 120 hours ang ihanda ninyo. Kasi hindi natin alam kung anong araw makakarating yung suporta. Water, food, lighting, mga toiletries, mga gamot, first aid kits, mga gamot na importante sa atin, lalo na kung meron tayong maintenance, dapat meron tayong dala niyan. Sa mga bata, go bag ng bata, dapat may mga toys dyan kasi maiinip yan. Meron kayong mga candies dyan and all that. And then tayo bilang parents, yung backpack natin are definitely bigger than the kids. So meron tayo dapat na kumot dyan, meron tayong beddings dyan as much as possible, meron tayong tent dyan kung pwede, o may tarp man lang tayo dyan para mahigaan at matulugan kung kailangan tayong mag-evacuate. Kung tayo naman mag-hunker down, sa bahay lang tayo, syempre, same preparation, pagkain, tubig, mga gagamitin mo sa brownout kasi mamamatay ng ilaw and all that. Ayun. So halimbawang
So,
na-prepare
Sir
mo na
Jhun,
yan.
I'll
Yes,
just
Chris,
cut
sorry.
you. I'm
Mahaba.
going to
Oo.
share screen so that we can summarize the points, okay, for our viewers. Okay, so this one were the
Yan.
points that you said. So,
Yan. Thank you, Chris.
one moment, nawala siya.
Ayan.
Okay, so anyhow, okay, so we actually are preparing bullet points.
Okay.
So actually kasi the internet connection is unstable kaya hindi siya makapag share screen.
Okay lang, Chris. Let's summarize na lang later on towards the end. Ayan, sa office, my dear friends, dapat mag-prepare din kayo. Kasi baka hindi kayo makaalis ng office nyo. So at least meron kayong enough food there to last you for several days, enough water to last you for several days. So may go bag sa bahay, may go bag din kayo, or at least may supplies kayo sa inyong office. No? Wag niyo kakalimutan, dapat meron kayo palaging whistle, maliit na flashlight na nasa inyong katawan. Kasi you'll never know when you'll need it, lalo na kung magkaroon ng earthquake. Whistle and flashlight becomes really, really critical in saving your life. Ayan. Medyo mahaba. Sorry.
Oh well,
That's okay,
those are
okay.
crucial information, Sir Jhun. I'm sure our viewers are going to take note of that.
I have a question, Chris, and siguro, Sir Jhun, pwedeng ikaw ang sumagot or yung mga kasama natin. Kasi kanina, when you were introducing everyone, napansin kong very common na sagot is yung nagte-training kami. And ako, naku-curious ako, ano ba yung mga training na kailangan pagdaanan ng isang parang maging member ng SOR, or how does it all start, no? So nakaka-curious kasi, no? So yung iba, dami na nilang narating, tapos yung iba, I've heard na yun na nga, yung mga fallen structures, mahirap yun, ha? So paano po ba yung natin, yung pathway natin?
Ayan. Thank you. Good question, partner. Sa SOR kasi, meron kaming tinatawag na POI or Program of Instructions. Okay? Yung POI, in our training lingo, that's our lesson plan, basically. Ayan. So, all volunteers natin sa ating SOR ay dadaan sa tinatawag nating POI. The POI is broken into 3 major segments. Okay? Yung first segment natin is yung usual onboarding and orientation para makilala nila. Minsan kasi very kasi ang sarap kasing tingnan at pakinggan na rescuer ako, parang ganon. But sigurado ka ba sa pinapasok mo? So that starts with the orientation and the onboarding and a lot of documentation kasi SOR kasi is registered under SEC as a non-stock, non-profit organization. And a lot of legalities goes with that. So maraming documentation and all. So that's part 1 or stage 1. Stage 2 sa SOR is yung tinatawag namin na tadpole stage. Butete stage ang tawag namin. Yan. And yung third stage ay bullfrog stage. So let's start with butete stage. Yan. So butete stage, as the word itself implies, mga beginners. So normally, there are four major training programs that they have to go through. Number one is yung tinatawag natin na military stakes. Bakit military stakes? Military stakes kaya kasi basic siya. Like, ang laman ng military stakes, number one, ay map reading and land navigation. Kasi sa search and rescue, pag di ka marunong magbasa ng mapa, well, it doesn't make sense to do a search, right? So,
Yes.
map reading and land navigation. Number two is signal communication. Dapat marunong ka mag-operate ng radio and other communication means. And number three, ano nga ba yung number three? So, number three is discipline. Discipline and courtesy, as we call it. Medyo in the case of SOR kasi medyo regimented siya kasi galing kami sa Coast Guard. Nagsimula yung aming buhay sa Coast Guard. So medyo regimented. We follow certain protocols, ika nga. So in the module on discipline and courtesy, pag-uusapan dyan yung mga customs, traditions, values ng SOR, mga mores, dyan pinag-uusapan yan. And then papasok na yung kanilang medical phase, which is yung kanilang first aid, basic first aid, basic life support, and other basic medical training. The last module sa butete stage is the water pace. Dito na papasok yung kanilang basic swimming skills. Tuturuan namin silang lumangoy. Medyo mahigpit kami dito. Napaka-strict ng instructors dito kasi when we talk about water training, we talk about serious water training kasi nagde-deploy kami sa dagat, nagde-deploy din kami sa baha. So, hindi pwedeng basic swimming lang. So, normally, pag pumasok na sa swimming phase, 4 to 8 days ang basic training mo sa swimming bago ka pa i-train sa water search and rescue. So, after yung 4 to 8 weekends mo na training, papasok na namin yung water search and rescue, papasok yung open water search and rescue. Magkaiba kasi ang search and rescue sa swift water o baha versus open water search and rescue. So, dun pa lang sa water phase, nagdadalawa na siya. Magsisimula sa open water and then papasok yung ating swift water, which simulates the baha. Open water, ginagawa natin yan sa rough seas of Zambales. Swift water, ginagawa natin yan sa very rough river of Daraitan, Tinipak. So talagang hands-on actual experience. Madalang ang theoretical sa amin kasi, partner George, kasi when we talk about search and rescue, very difficult to teach technical skills pagdating sa virtual. Medyo mahihirapan tayo. So dapat nilang mahawakan, maramdaman, at magawa. So in the past, meron kaming blended approach. 20% of the learning normally online namin ginagawa, but the rest, even prior COVID, hands-on yan. So that's phase 2, which is the tadpole stage. The bullfrog stage, ito na yung mas advanced types of training. Papasok na dito yung EMR or yung Emergency Medical Responder Course. Mas advanced ito sa ating first aid. Yan. Papasok na rin dito yung ating scuba diving course kasi mas advanced na ito from the search and rescue sa water, open water. Papasok na ang scuba diving course. Papasok na ang firefighting course kasi kailangan din nilang matutunan yan. Papasok na yung ating high angle or yung tinatawag natin na MOSAR, Mountain Search and Rescue. Papasok na rin yung Wilderness Search and Rescue or Wilderness Medical Search and Rescue. Bakit hiniwalay namin ang Wilderness from EMR? Kasi EMR is your usual urban setting, while wilderness medicine is really your usual austere medicine sa bundok, sa battlefield. Papasok na rin dito yung tactical medicine, which we normally teach sa mga sundalo, police, at sa mga advanced members na atin sa search and rescue. Papasok na rin dito yung ating collapse structure ni Chief Somera. Kasi sa tadpole stage, alam mo yung basic na. Pagdating sa bullfrog stage, magiging advanced na siya. So the idea is, depending on the intensity or the gravity of the situation or the disaster that's happening, meron kang team who can deploy easily. Like halimbawa, doon sa Yolanda, when we went to Yolanda, 12-man team lang kami, although 42 kami noon. The others had to stay dito sa headquarters just to monitor and support, kasi yung 12 that went to Yolanda are the ones who are really, really seasoned, ika nga, no? Na kaya na nila kahit kaya nila yung fury of Yolanda. I'd like to show this lang. I don't know if you will see it. This was the centerfold of Philippine Graphic. This was us during the Yolanda. Ayan. So, even then, yung 12 ko na kasama, the following day, pinauwi ko sa Manila yung 6. Kasi the devastation is simply, and the death, sorry sa mga kumakain, and the death is simply huge to the point where yung 6 ko, pinauwi ko na sa Manila the following day kasi they can't take it anymore. Makikita mo sa mukha nila, distraught na sila eh. So, even if I have prepared them already, like I said, nothing prepares you for the real thing. Mga ano na yun? Bullfrogs na yun. No? Nothing prepares you for the real thing. So hindi siya madali. May nagtanong sa akin, gaano ba katagal ang training, sir? 3 days ba yan? 1 week? Sabi ko, pag natapos mo yung bullfrog, at least 2 years siguro. Kasi yung water phase pa lang natin, if you recall, basic water pa lang, 8 days na. Bago ka pa namin ibato sa dagat. Pag binato ka namin sa dagat, that's another 4 days. Pag binato ka namin sa swift water, that's another 7 days. So hindi siya biro-biro. Medyo may reputasyon ang SOR, sorry to say, na minsan nagsashy away yung mga volunteers kasi mahirap ang training.
Tough
But sabi ko
talaga.
nga sa kanila, mahirap ang training. Pero sinasabi ko sa kanila, it's really for you. At the end of the day, kung wala kami sa paligid mo at nag-iisa ka sa gitna ng dilubyo, how will you survive, di ba? It's really for you. Yun. That's how we do it, partner. I hope I was able to answer your question.
So actually what we
Of
can
course,
see,
oo.
what we can
Thank you.
see, yeah, what we can see is actually it's really a commitment kasi the people here in SOAR, they've been doing this since some of them I've heard 2013. So this actually goes through stages, okay, and it's really tough. Kasi nga it's tough being I couldn't imagine myself in this situation, okay, and that's why I'm actually impressed with your dedication. And then George, you were saying?
Actually, thank you, Sir Jhun. No? So, at least now I have an idea. No? So, talagang kailangan buo talaga loob mo no? When you do this. Hindi pa pwedeng urong-sulong. Siguro naman for the benefit din of our audience, and I'd be more interested. Baka mga kasama natin I have one question eh. And anyone can share, no? Ano ba yung pinaka-unforgettable experience ninyo sa SOAR na ginawa ninyo? Siguro maganda makwento lang. Anyone can share para lang marinig rin ng natin, ng mga audience natin. Kung meron kayong gusto ikwento na unforgettable.
Ako may
Kuya
request
Alan,
ako eh. Yung
Yes,
sa collapsed scenarios, curious ako dun eh.
Ayan. Sige, Chris, hatiin natin. Mamaya, si Kuya Alan. Kuya Alan, ikwento mo yung Lando experience natin.
Good evening po ulit. Well, yung Lando po, actually hindi talaga kami prepared sa nakita namin. Starting from Manila going to Nueva Ecija, hindi namin alam kung paano kami tatawid ng tulay. Kasi nga, yung bridge, 1 inch or parang 5 inch na lang aabutin na nung baha. So, Commander Del Ponso decided na we have to move on. So, binaba namin yung rubber boat. Binuhat namin siya mga 500 meters. Then, binaba namin siya kasi hanggang dibdib na yung tubig eh. So, nirow namin yung boat. proceed again, binuhat ulit namin kasi nag-subside na dyan sa part na medyo mataas sa Nueva Ecija. Then pagdating namin dun sa Kapitolyo, nagsalita yung governor. Sabi niya, yan ang mga rescuer. When we were just trying to be there. Nagulat sila, medyo tired na kami, ulan, tapos tuyo, ulan, tuyo. Tapos pagdating namin doon, umuulan pa. And we were just a 6-man team din. So, basic pa lang yun.
Maalat ba? Maalat?
Maalat po ang tubig.
Ito yung boat. Just to show you guys. This was the boat na binuhat nila.
Wow, 500 meters. Grabe.
That was the boat.
Malayo yun.
Ayan,
Okay,
si Chief
sino pa?
Sumero
Sino
naman
pa pwede?
sa collapse structure.
Sa experience ko naman po sa collapse structure, normally po, hindi pa ako member noon ng team. Pero doon sa naging experience ko, talaga pong nakakatakot, lalo na yung mga katulad nung nangyari sa Baguio noong 1990. Pero ang kadalasan po niyan sa mga gustong tumulong, makikipag-coordinate lang po kayo kung sino yung in charge na naroon. Unang-una po, pag gusto nyong tumulong, kailangan po yung handa kayo. Handa yung sikmura mo, handa yung kalooban mo, handa yung puso mo. Wala kang hinihintay na kapalit. Kasi po, ang inilalaan mo na doon ay yung buhay mo. So, pagdating po sa collapse structure, hindi ka mahihirapan kung susunod ka sa instruction ng mga kasama mo na mas nakakaalam na. Halimbawa po, gusto mong tumulong, nangyari na, the big one. So ang kailangan lang po, lalo na kung doon sa may barangay ninyo, i-coordinate nyo ito doon sa mga rescuers na naroon na. Kasi sila po yung higit na nakakaalam kung ano po yung magiging galawan ninyo. And then, hindi po naman tayo maliligaw pag train po tayo sa search and rescue kasi po, meron po kaming tinuturo na sinusunod natin na instruction ng United Nations, no, yung pong standard na marking sa bawat building na nasisira. May mga markings pong inilalagay doon, kaya yung pong mga trained rescuer, yun po ang sinusunod nila. So dahil ginawa pong standard yan, pag dumating po yung mga tiga-ibang bansa para tumulong sa atin, mas nagkakaintindihan na po tayo doon pa lang sa markings. Kasi po, standardize lahat ng ginagawa pagdating po sa search and rescue para po maiwasan yung paulit-ulit na ginagawa. Halimbawa, isang building, napasok na pala pero hindi sila nag-iwan ng markings. So, yung time po na nasasayang ay ganoon. And then, pagdating naman po sa mga gamit, ang mga rescuer naman po ay merong by section po yan. Merong nasa heavy section o heavy, meron silang nasa medium at meron naman pong light. Katulad po ng team natin sa SOAR, nasa light po kami. So ibig sabihin, pag nag-responde po kami, pagka medyo kailangan na ng mga crane ganyan, so mag-aantay po kami ng responde galing sa government. So palagi pong naka-coordinate lang tayo kasi mas iniiwasan po natin yung mas lumala pa. o yung rescuer ay magiging biktima pa. So maganda po, masarap sa rescue. Huwag po kayong matakot sa search and rescue, mga papasok sa mga building. Huwag po kayong matakot kasi pag na-train na po kayo, ganun po ninyo ma-appreciate yun. Mababawasan po yung takot ninyo kasi alam mo na yung gagawin mo. At higit sa lahat, bilang rescuer, hindi po kayo pababayaan ng buong team kasi hindi nila hayaan na meron pang mapahamak na rescuer. Sinisikap po natin yung ganoong pamamaraan. At
Okay.
gusto ko rin pong i-mark sa inyo, idagdag ko na rin po. Yung latest na pinakahuling naalala kong experience ko is with si Commander Delfonso noong nadistino kami sa Marikina noong panahon ng Ulysses. Alam niyo ang lalim ng tubig ay sa second floor na at meron na rin mga lumubog na bubong ng bahay. Pero kami po, nung dumating kami doon, nagtataka yung mga tao bakit yung pag-deploy namin by team ay mabilis. Unlike yung barangay na nandoon. Ang kagandahan po nun, ang sikreto po doon ay doon sa training namin sa Wasar. Dahil doon po sa Wasar, dinala sa gitna ng dagat, so makikipaglabang ka ron, so makikita mo yung mga matataas na alon, pero mawawala rin yung takot mo. Bakit? Kasi nakapaligid sa iyo yung mga kasama mong Coast Guard habang nagte-training kayo doon sa gitna ng dagat. So pagdating po, pag naranasan ninyo yun, pagdating mo sa ganyang katulad ng Marikina, hindi ka na matatakot kasi mas matindi doon yung dinaanan mo. So ganyan po yung mga training natin. Kaya mag-e-enjoy po kayo later on pag nag-join kayo ng rescue and at the same time nag-volunteer kayo at nasasama kayo sa mga kanyang mga pagkakataon. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Chief. Back to you, Miss Chris.
Well, it actually sounds exciting. And actually, what I do remember lang, I was in a TV station, yung pinaka, kasi sa company, sa organization, okay, ano doon yung, I think that's, what was before millennium, yung mas matindi or parang Ondoy. Okay, that was Ondoy. Okay, so yung na-Ondoy kami, so what happened was, kasi nasa TV station ako noon, we organized some search, parang search volunteers. Kasi some of the employees, they were in areas na nabaha talaga. And talagang yung baha nila is lampas tao. Especially doon sa may Rainbow Homes sa Novaliches area. As in, yes, may mga creeks doon na umapaw. And then, yung mga storya nila, parang lumalangoy daw sila, tapos may katabi daw silang pasintabi na lang po, may katabi silang yung mga daga lumalangoy din. Okay. So, yun yung kanilang mga storya. So anyway, Sir Jhun, we'll go from, so this one is for your work at SOAR, and then we also talked about personal emergencies, okay, how to plan for it. So how about organizations? Okay, so ito sa organizations natin, may sinasabi tayong mga health and safety protocol, emergency preparedness, and operations continuity planning. So for the benefit of our HR community members, okay, can you differentiate these terms?
Sure. So, very often, pagka nasa business setting tayo, ito yung tinatawag natin na BCP or Business Continuity Plan. Another term, Chris, is what you mentioned a while ago. Emergency Preparedness Plan. Okay? So, yung BCP or the Business Continuity Plan is supposed to help the business survive or mitigate the impact of the disaster, okay, by planning ahead. So let's take some examples. Normally, HR is part of the BCP team palagi kasi HR ay palaging responsible for the people side of the BCP, right? So BCP is composed of different facets. So pag titingnan natin ang operation ng isang kumpanya, siyempre, ang number one priority ng BCP is return to the normal life of the business. Otherwise, malulugi, lalo na sa BPO, no, o sa IT-enabled services. Kapag yung mga BPO natin o IT-enabled services natin ay tumagal na hindi operational, malaki ang lugi. Sa call centers, $3 per call per minute yan. So can you imagine sa dami ng calls na mawawala dahil nawawala sa Pilipinas? So normally, ano ba ang impact sa negosyo ng mga disasters? Kung tayo ay BPO, syempre napuputulan ng communication lines. So ang nangyayari, nire-route sa ibang site outside of the Philippines. Pagka nasa, let's say, manufacturing naman tayo, napuputol ang supply ng ating mga goods. Kasi syempre, halimbawa, Baguio is affected and you are food manufacturer. So chances are, excuse me, you're getting your gulay from Baguio or other areas. So pag tinamaan ng Baguio, medyo tatamaan ang production mo. Or halimbawa, yung ating mga shipping lines, no, mga companies natin dito that rely on raw materials coming from the outside. Kailangan dumaan yan sa dagat or sa air kapag may bagyo, hindi makakarating yan on time. So, all of this has to be thought of by the business. Pag-aaralan nila kung paano maibabalik kaagad yung negosyo sa kanyang normal na operation. And that's what we call business continuity plan. Okay? So, very often, ang unang titingnan dyan ay yung operational aspect. Tatanungin dyan, papag-uusapan dyan, supplies. Do we have enough supplies for so-and-so number of weeks or months for us to continue operations? Do we have enough IT equipment and all that? So operations ang unang ipaplan out. Pangalawa is, okay, so we have the machines, we have the supplies, we can operate. Do we have the manpower now? So papasok ngayon si HR, papasok si workforce, papasok si planning. All right? Our is are impacted or will be impacted. Kasi BCP plan is normally created prior to any disaster or prior to any possible issue. Pag-aaralan na yan bago pa mangyari. So pag may padating na bagyo, pag-aaralan na yan, alright, kailangan ba nating i-house yung mga employees natin dito para hindi na sila umuwi at hindi sila maipit ng bagyo para tuloy-tuloy din ang operations natin. So pinag-aaralan lahat yan. As a matter of fact, kapag merong disasters, mga hotel pinapasara ng companies kasi doon na sila pinapatuloy yung mga employee for several reasons. Number one is, of course, operational. Number two is safety. Siyempre, yung mga tao mo, galing sa trabaho, padating ang bagyo, magko-commute yan. Baka naman ma-aksidente pa yan. So for their safety, hina-house na sila either sa facility, sa planta, or doon sa kung saan man. Yan. So that's BCP, my dear friends, in a nutshell. BCP is about how do we bring the business back to its normal operation? Something happens. Number two, yung mga manpower that we need, are they available? Are our people safe? Can we, ika nga, pag tinamaan tayo na bagyo or whatever, can we mobilize them right away? And what are the things that we need to do? That's BCP. Okay? Ano pa nga yung dalawa, Chris? Sorry, I forgot the other two.
Safety, health and safety protocol. And operations continuity planning, emergency preparedness plan.
Ayan, yung operations continuity is the BCP.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about the health and wellness naman. The Department of Labor and Employment has implemented the revised OSH law, o Occupational Safety and Health Law, requiring all companies to practice yung tinatawag natin na OSH or yung BOSH, Basic Occupational Safety and Health, Occupational Safety and Health. So there are procedures required by the Department of Labor. Like depending on the number of employees, dapat may so-and-so number of emergency response team members kayo at first aiders. Dapat depending on the number of employees, meron kayong so-and-so number of doctors or nurses or dentists that are present on site. Yan ay mga requirement ng OSH law. Pangatlo, dapat meron din kayong Health and Safety Committee which is being headed by a level 3 or level 4 OSH practitioner. So sila ang nagdo-draw out ng mga employee environment health and safety protocols. Included dyan sa mga protocols na yan ay yung protocols natin sa COVID. Yan, yung committee na yan ang gumagawa niyan, health and safety. Protocols pagdating sa proper disposal of hazardous materials sa mga planta yan, yung EHS committee ang gumagawa niyan. Safety on the floor, EHS committee ang gumagawa niyan. Ayon. So that my dear friends is in a nutshell is the one for that talks about yung preparedness natin sa health and safety protocols. So if you need guidelines on that, just just search yung OSHLO. Makikita nyo po yan, yung Republic Act na yan. And then the details are all there. Yung emergency preparedness naman is, I guess, what we've been talking about since we started kanina, how to prepare yourself, your family, your home, or your workplace pagdating ng sakuna.
So it's actually intertwined because, of course, a lot of people are at work. Diba? If you're reporting to an office, you're at work. And katulad nga ng sinabi ni Sir Jhun, you should also know the route, okay, going from, just in case the inevitable, of something that really happens, it really goes to yung mga inevitabilities, okay? At least you know how to go home walking, okay, from your workplace to your homes. Anyway, George, do you have a question?
Sir Jun, just curious, no? Kasi nga, things have so much changed, no? This past couple of months because of the pandemic and all that, no? But siguro from your perspective, has anything changed ba in terms of HR budget when it comes to disaster preparedness and office emergencies, no? Should HR increase the budget? Nagbago ba yung budget ng HR ngayon? And what are the elements that should be considered right now, no? Especially right now, after having gone through all of this past 2 years, no? Meron ba tayong mga dapat i-institute na importante sa mga respective companies natin?
Thank you, George. Particularly the COVID situation that we have today. It significantly impacted the way we look at employee welfare, no? And kasi, let's put it this way, business, operations, and employees go hand in hand, no? If our employees cannot work, then there's no business, really. Even if you have automated all of those automated machines and all that stuff in your factory, no one's going to operate that. PPOs, you have all the high-tech gadgets in there, but you don't have call center agents. It won't really matter. So over the last, well, I guess a year and a half now since we started with COVID, no, late 2020, early 2020, I mean, no, a lot of companies, based on what I've seen and based on studies also being conducted by PMAP, BPAP, and other HR organizations, you will see that there has been a significant increase, not only in the awareness, but also in the commitment of the different companies to provide more than what they can provide, they usually provide to employees. Case in point, some companies, dati, di ba, kapag wala naman tayong pandemic during those early days, meron kang HMO and all that. But with the pandemic and all, we've seen a lot of companies that are actually extending to more than just HMO. They're actually even providing hazard pay. Some are even providing additional benefits sa kanilang HMO para makover pa yung cost. No? We have employees that are in the hospital because they are confined because of the COVID, and a lot of companies extend more help to these employees, which in the past you won't see much of. The company will provide you with the HMO and a little bit of, actually, out of the goodness of their heart, they will give you a little bit more. But these times of pandemic, I've seen a lot of companies go really out of their way just to help employees. Some companies have actually maintained employees over the last 12 months para hindi sila mawalan ng trabaho. They kept them, no? Even kahit wala silang work, ang ginagawa nila is the company provides them, may not necessarily be 100% of their pay, but some allowances, parang subsistence allowance to keep them afloat so that when things normalize, they are healthy, they can come back and they have a company to go back to. I've seen a lot of that as well. So from a budget standpoint, partner, I've seen a lot of companies increase their budget on health and wellness, not just physical wellness. Grabe ang impact sa ating mental wellness nitong COVID, no? I mean, it's really close to home. So talagang the impact to the mental wellness of our employees is really significant. I've seen companies invest a lot of money on mental wellness programs. At the end of the day, if they take care of their employees and once the pandemic bowls over, then you have very loyal employees out there waiting to come back because they have seen how you treat them, they have seen how you help them and supported them during difficult times. Pilipino tayo eh. Malaki ang utang na loob natin kapag tayo ay inalagaan during the time when we really need it. So budgets are increasing in terms of health and wellness. I've seen that. A lot of employee projects, engagements are increasing as well. I've seen that as well with the different studies being done, which is a good thing.
It is, it is. Alam mo, gustong-gusto ko yung sinabi mo kanina eh, na, you know, it doesn't matter if you have all the high-tech stuff out there, if you have yung kumpleto yung planta mo, pero kung wala namang magtatrabaho, 'di ba? Ganun din eh. It's not going to work. And at the end of the day, and we were just discussing this about a month ago kami ni Chris, no. This is the best way to showcase your employee value proposition without paying for, you know, bells and whistles advertising. Di mo na kailangan magbayad noon kasi ang the best advocates of an organization are your employees. At pag napatunayan natin yan sa pandemic, natulungan natin, napasigla natin sila at naging safe yung ano natin, pakikitungo natin sa kanila, these guys will definitely advocate not just the company but also the work. No? So ang ganda nung sinabi mo, Sir Jhun.
Kasi this one goes on a full circle. You take care of them, okay? Then they will take care of the company. So, ganun lang naman ang relationship ng employee and employer. But, you know, it's interesting, Sir Jhun, okay? Yes, there's a lot of awareness and a lot of projects and initiatives on yung holistic approach, okay, to health and safety. You've said that it's not just the physicality of yung mga programs, but also about yung psychological. And actually, we've been doing that. In fact, next week in the next few weeks, we will have 2 episodes dedicated on that. Tapos, dito naman with our emergency preparedness and dealing with disasters, I'm sure that this one is going to be, I think if it has not been tackled, I think people will be adding a few items in their health and safety protocol. So anyway, George and Sir Jhun, I'll just summarize what was discussed kasi napakalaki ng sakop ng discussion natin this evening eh. So I will just make some bullet points. Okay, so for the benefit of our viewers, okay, so we've actually tackled how to prepare as a household, as a family. How do you prepare for emergencies? And Sir Jhun actually made some bullet points here. And then I will just summarize. So stay informed, okay? So have access to information, and then you have to make a plan. So malaking bagay daw dito yung planning. And you have to plan for scenarios whether you're going to be staying at home or there is a chance or possibility of evacuation. So it's also important to assemble your go bag, okay, and have necessities that will last you for 120 hours. Kasi nga, hindi natin alam if the rescue teams will be able to reach you immediately. Kasi they may have their own obstacles. Also, okay, Sir Jhun also showed us the cards, okay, and then I think for our community, we will give them a template for that. So make an emergency contact card with your photo, name of your relative, barangay, officers, and their contact information. So, dala-dala mo yon. And then you also have to, to be 2 steps ahead. Pinpoint an emergency contact person which is outside your area. Just in case, okay, your area has a lot of debaccles, okay, and also, syempre, kung umabot na nga doon sa mga sukdulan ng mga situation, okay, so it's better to have someone outside of your area. Tapos kung kaibigan mo siya, best friend mo siya since high school, then better. Okay, at least you've been in touch. And then for the workplace also, we've had common emergencies. Okay, so this is actually part of our emergency plan. Just to review, so we actually have plans for fires or explosions, medical emergencies, severe weather, earthquakes, major power failures, and hazardous material spills. So dito pumapasok yung ating OSH. So for offices, okay, you can get training from DOLE for OSH, and then for construction companies, you get training for COSH. So yun yung mga training, and so that you can assemble your safety committee. And then as a worker, it's important for you to know these points, okay, because you need to be able to make preparations yourself for your family. And then of course, at the very onset of the emergency situation at work, syempre alam mo hindi ka matataranta. Okay, so at least you're mentally prepared for that. And if you are this kind of person that's you want to prepare, you can also ask your employer or your organization what kind of training that they can give you guys, so that you will be able to manage your emotions during the emergency situation, especially during natural disasters. And for HR, okay, it's important naman to plan for emergencies because you don't want panic to be happening in the workplace, okay? And you manage life-threatening situations. And also minimize yung damage office environment, especially on equipment, machinery, and tools. So usually it's HR with admin working together. So usually naman isa lang yung department, or sometimes separate yung department, but you can actually coordinate with admin or facilities management for these protocols. So we have 3 kinds of policies. So you have your health and safety protocols, and then you have your emergency preparedness plan. Okay, and also yung sinasabi nating business continuity, so HRB is a participant doon sa MANCOM, and then with the operations officer, you have your business continuity plan so that you can minimize your downtime, which can affect kasi your business. So yun. So this is actually just an outline of the steps of emergency planning. So you have to establish a team, assess the risk and company capabilities, so develop the emergency response plan. And of course, this is where training happens, okay? Kasi you need to orient your people, and then you need to also communicate what the plan is, okay? Kasi minsan sa mga building, it's actually, there's a protocol also by the admin department of the building. And these plans, okay, you can hold drills, okay, within the office, and sometimes the LGUs also have drills, okay, such as earthquake drill, fire drills, okay. Dito sa BGC, regular na ginagawa yan. Okay, so in other areas, I think pagka nakikita natin may mga tao na nagdi-drill, lumalabas sa building nila, yun, they hold drills. And of course, these plans, every year, okay, kasi we never really, can predict, di ba, what will happen. So these are improved on. And then with this year, we've seen some efforts being made and enhancements on the plan. Kaya lumalaki yung budget on health and safety. So back to you, George. Anything that you can add on?
Ako, I'm good na, Chris, because of the summary naman. I'm very I learned a lot from Sir Jhun and also our guests. Sila siguro they might have questions din, but yun.
May tanong ako. I'm curious. Paano naman kayo pag nasi-stress? Paano kayo nag-relax? Siyempre pagka kayo na tension kayo, paano naman kayo nag-relax?
We train. Ano yan, yung mga team members natin, one of the things that we sorry, how do I put it? Normally kapag naiinis kami sa mga bagay-bagay, we train. But
Okay.
we
So yun ang
distract
outlet
ourselves
nyo.
from it. We train.
Okay. So yun ang outlet nyo. Kasi I can see nga that you constantly update yourselves. Okay, so that's one. And then Sir June, can you tell us about your ambulance services?
Ah, sure, sure. Well, one of the dreams kasi ng team before, way back, after going through a lot of training sa medicine and all, sabi namin, it's kind of difficult to do that without an ambulance. So eventually, we established an ambulance. So we have 3 ambulances now. Although yung dalawa is still under production kasi kino-customize pa siya. We decided to come up with the SOAR ambulance, SOAR emergency ambulance rescue services. Although it's partly business din kasi syempre meron tayong cost that has to be managed. But 60-40, 40% is business and 60% remains to be community service. So marami tayong tinutulungan ng mga barangay, tumatawag sa atin, nagpapatulong. We still do that on a regular basis. We also have corporate clients. Ayan, syempre meron sila talagang budget. So medyo kumikita tayo dun sa budget nila from there. But the rest, pag may kailangan ng LGU, most recently si MMDA, pagka medyo maraming aksidente sa EDSA, medyo kulang sa responders, tatawag sila, mga OCD yan, minsan tatawag din yan pag kailangan sa ganito. So, we still do that. So, SOAR Ambulance po ay available sa inyo. If you need help, call us and we'll come to your aid. No? We cater to any type of illness. Recently, because of the COVID, ang dami nating COVID cases and yung ibang ambulance kasi medyo nag-iingat din. Although kami rin, very careful din naman tayo. But we cater to COVID cases. Napaka-strict ng ating disinfection protocols kasi ang ating medical director ay napaka-strict din. No, mahigpit talaga ang aming medical director pagdating dyan. So, we're available. Call us. Let us know if we can help you out. Our numbers naman are easy to find. It's in Facebook. It's all over the place. Ayan si Ma'am Jella, katabi niya yung isa nating ALS ambulance. All our ambulances are ALS. Although minsan kasi, dalawa klase kasi ang ambulance sa Pilipinas. One is BLS. The other one is ACLS or ALS. Kami, all our ambulances are ACLS, ALS kasi although basic BLS ang need, pag hindi nagamit yung advanced equipment, okay lang din. But if it's needed, it's available. The mantra kasi of SOAR is we must be able to sustain life. So kahit basic ang need niyan at nagkaroon ng, wag naman sana, nagkaroon ng critical need while in transport, available yung equipment to use.
So I put
Yun siya.
I put Miss Jelay on close up. Ayan. So yan yung katabi niya kasi yung ambulance. Okay, hi Miss Jelay.
Let
How
me
are
show
you?
you po. Ito po yung ambulance namin. Medyo maingay po kasi katabi kami ng train station. Ayan.
So for those viewers, so if yun nga kasi I was going to go into that kasi madami rin sa kasi Sir Jhun na kailangan ng ambulance service ngayon, especially pagka nagkaroon na nung hindi paghinga pagka may COVID ka.
Ayun na.
Yeah, medyo maingay. Ayun na yung trend.
Oh.
Dumaan ang trend.
Live tayo on site. Okay.
Ayan,
So,
Miss Chris, we also do trainings. Magsisimula na rin kami doon sa ating training center dito, yung SOAR Search and Rescue Training and Consultancy. Marami tayong mga partners na training centers din sa buong Metro Manila, mga tropa. We're about to open yung ating training center dito kasi almost done na yung renovation. We're about to open it. We'll be offering TESDA courses, DOLE accredited courses like first aid and all that. We also offer EMR, EMT training dito. So eventually very affordable kasi this is really not a profit organization, no. We care for a little profit, but syempre nagsimula tayo sa search and rescue, so ang puso natin ay for the people pa rin. So very affordable training programs.
Wow. So that's good to hear, Sir Jhun. And a lot of our HR community members will probably flock your training rooms soon. Yun. So anyhow, okay. So may iba naman tayo, Sir Jhun. So you are the global training partner of CLDP. So do you have upcoming webinars in connection with that?
Yan, thank you, Miss Chris. We actually have another certification course this coming 20. Double check to be sure. Baka magkamali ako ng date. 20. Okay. This coming 20. Yan. This coming 25 and 26. CLDP is our global training certification program. Sa 25-26 ang ating next run. So kung meron pong mga instructors, mga trainers dito na gustong ma-certify globally, pwede po kayong mag-undergo ng CLDP. Ako po ang magiging tormentor nyo doon for 2 days. But it will be fun. It will be fun. So maraming instructor dito. Yan. Marami tayong instructor dito. Yan, si Kuya Marvin, instructor yan. Sino po ba ang mga instructor natin dito? Si Kuya Ryan, instructor yan. Maraming instructor dito. Kung gusto nyong ma-recognize globally, magpa-certify kayo dito, mga tropa, kasi maganda itong program para sa inyo. Mare-recognize kayo globally. Kahit saan kayong pumuntang bansa, kahit kung gusto nyo mag-abroad, pakita nyo lang yan, recognized ang CLDP.
Okay, so yeah, so that's CLDP for you. Yeah, so CLDP is also, ano yan, di ba, magka-tandem yan with CPHR. So I'm also a graduate of CPHR. So yeah, those are very credible certification courses. Ayun. So anyway, we had really, actually this was a very helpful topic. So this is parang eye-opener, and also pagka nakalimutan mo na kasi, it kind of reminds you of how to prepare for these mga surprise, okay, emergencies, okay. So anyhow, George, what is from your end? Any webinars that are coming from your end?
Wala naman, Chris, no? Kasi nga medyo busy din kami dun sa isa kong ginagawang project. But we have for HR Shouts and Whispers, no? Pero ano lang, ang announcement lang namin is in the next couple of months, we will be having mga guests, no? Who will be providing us more HR tech, mga ganon. So yun lang yung parang pinaka update natin, and then other programs that we will be launching in the future. So yun naman, hindi naman, walang particular for me.
Okay, so anyhow, so thank you.
Chris, may plugging.
Okay, please.
One last plugging lang. So SOAR volunteers po, we're still accepting. Meron tayong orientation tomorrow and next Sunday. So yung sa mga gustong mag-volunteer, welcome po kayo. Tag-ulan na, kailangan natin ng mga pandagdag sa tropa dahil hindi natin alam kung anong mangyayari. So open po ang volunteer natin. Welcome po kayo. Libre po ang training. Gastos nyo lang yung syempre, the usual stuff pag nagte-training. Pagkain mo, uniform mo, and all that. Pero yung instruction, libre po sa amin yan. So yun lang ang maibibigay namin sa inyo kasi pag volunteer, walang sahod talaga yan. Pero mabibigyan namin kayo ng training. Yun ang bibigay namin sa inyo. So yan, open po pa hanggang next Sunday po.
Okay, so they can get in touch with you, Sir Jhun. And this one, okay, later on, we can, our viewers can actually ask questions and we can post it on the comment section, how they can get in touch with you. So I'd like to request everyone to open their cams. Okay, so we are about to say goodbye already. So yeah, let's show our handsome and beautiful faces. So thank you for being with us this Saturday evening. Okay, I was really surprised yung buong tropa dinala ni Sir Jhun. So thank you, Sir Jhun, for guesting also. This is your second time. Actually, after 1 year. Okay, you nakalipas. Okay, so anyhow, okay, so I hope that everyone has a very restful Saturday, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the weekend. And for our televiewers, just keep on sending us your feedback, what you like us to talk about, and we will present it in our FB Live interviews. Okay, so yun. So without further ado, we will say goodbye for now, temporarily, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys. Thank you,
Alright.
Sir
Thank
June,
you.
everyone.
Happy Independence Day!
Happy
Mabuhay ang
Independence
Independence Day.
kalayaan!
Okay, bye-bye.
Why don't you upskill in the comforts of your own home? Improve and add more certificates in your resume. Simple, direct, easy. Visit the playlist in our YouTube channel. Browse through our videos and choose the video that interests you. Send in your requests for a particular video and we will send back the certificate via email. Watch this full video